In this edition of RPP News, Peninsula gambling skyrockets, a first for Sorrento, and a portrait of renewal takes out top prize. Hello, I'm Catie Sharp. Welcome to the latest edition of RPP News, bringing you stories from across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula. Mornington Peninsula residents are losing nearly $250,000 every day on pokie machines. The figures were revealed by Councillor Despy O'Connor at Tuesday's Mornington Peninsula Shire Council meeting. The figures reinforce an observation by Dunkley MP Peter Murphy that per capita Australians are the biggest gambling losers in the world, losing more money gambling than visitors to Las Vegas. Councillor O'Connor told Council that the turnover is being generated by 17 licensed Peninsula pokie venues and that post-COVID losses have been increasing.
Impacted initially by COVID, but now the increases are markedly higher than prior to COVID, where the average per year prior to COVID was $80 million. This year, the statistic is over $90 million. $90,344,068.26 in 1 year. To further put this in perspective, per day, that is an amount of $247,518 being lost on the Mornington Peninsula.
Detectives investigating the suspicious disappearance of a 36-year-old Brunswick woman, Mariam Hamka, located what appears to be human remains in Cape Schanck this week. The remains were found on Monday in bushland off Rogers Road near Patterson Road. While not formally identified as Mariam, her brother Hassan has confirmed this to be the case online. Mariam was reported missing by her family in April 2021. Police have charged 2 men over the course of the investigation. In August 2021, a 41-year-old Brighton man was charged with 1 count of murder and remanded in custody. In September 2021, a 26-year-old Richmond man was charged as an accessory. Meanwhile, police have put a stop to a spate of burglaries at rental properties at the southern end of the peninsula last month. Bianca Rose has the details.
Many of the properties which were in Blairgowrie, Rye and St Andrews Beach were accessed via house keys left for renters. The homes were ransacked with large quantities of white goods, appliances and furniture stolen. Police have seized more than 100 stolen household items which are in the process of being returned to their rightful owners. A 34-year-old man and a 36-year-old woman from Rye were charged with handling stolen goods and possessing the proceeds of crime. They will appear in the Dramana Magistrates Court at a later date.
The AFLW fixture for Season 8 has been announced, with 4 games to be held at Frankston Park's Kinetic Stadium. Last week, the grounds hosted an open training session of the Hawthorn team, who won 2 of the 3 games they played at Kinetic Stadium last season. Around 5,000 people are expected at the stadium on September the 2nd for the Round 1 games of Hawthorn versus Essendon. And the winner of Frankston Arts Centre's annual Open Exhibition Prize for 2023 has been announced. With the theme of renewal, a striking ink and pastel portrait by artist Jessica John has taken out top honours. Titled Cycle of Life, it is a double portrait depicting an infant in the arms of an elderly man. Ms. John estimated it took her 50 to 60 hours to create the piece. Ms. John's prize includes an exhibition and opening event at Frankston Arts Centre in 2024, as well as a cash prize of $1,000. Artworks entered for the competition, including Ms. John's piece, are on display at Frankston Arts Centre's Cube 37 gallery until the 25th of August. And now to David Robertson with the Bendigo Bank monthly market update.
The RBA pause has been extended for another month, leaving a growing chorus of opinions that we've reached the peak for interest rates. Our thoughts and forecasts in these fluid and volatile market conditions. The latest reprieve from further RBA rate hikes was well anticipated after the better than expected quarterly CPI numbers and the fall in retail sales in June, showing that the 4% of rate hikes delivered so far is impacting spending and helping to dampen inflation. While other central banks have kept hiking rates in the last few weeks, including the US, Canada and the Bank of England, leaving a widening gap between our 4.1% cash rate and the rest of the pack, the market expectation now is divided between one and no more RBA rate hikes. Our expectation, however, is still for one more increase, potentially in November, after the next quarterly inflation numbers, dependent on their further progress. With greater confidence, we continue to suggest that rate cuts are unlikely until 2025 and will be predicated on core inflation returning back below 3%. The second quarter inflation numbers were encouraging, with the consumer price index down to 6% and only 0.8% for the quarter, so clearly headed back towards 3%. Core inflation also fell to 5.9%, but the challenge for new RBA Governor Michelle Bullock will be how long it will take to get back to target, especially with services inflation heading in the wrong direction as opposed to goods inflation, a trend being seen in similar economies overseas. We still expect to see slow real economic growth in this new financial year and a steady increase in the unemployment rate due to higher interest rates. However, the latest jobs data was again remarkably strong, showing the resilience of our economy. Unemployment fell to just below 3.5% in June and has yet to be impacted by the recent surge in net migration and population growth, another sign of the longer lag in this tightening cycle compared to more normal economic conditions. But this adds another complication to RBA policy settings with its implications for services inflation. Having record levels of employment is a helpful factor as the economy slows, but we still need a lift in labour productivity to make real wages growth sustainable. And lastly, the Aussie dollar once again failed to break the 69-cent barrier in July, so is now testing the lower end of the recent 64.5 to 69-cent band. Further policy announcements out of China will be very relevant on this front, given their implications for our export markets. And that's the market update from Bendigo Bank.
After the break, Bianca will be back with the coming week's weather report.
Battery World now open in Mornington.
We know batteries. We know our 75 D23Ls from our DIN 65 LHs. And we know which is best for you. We have the range and a spark no one else can match, because we live and breathe batteries, those beautiful boxes and cylinders that power our lives and our passions. That's why we're the batteryologists. We're Battery World.
Battery World Shop 1, 43 Mornington Tyre Road, Mornington.
With interest rates on the rise, there's never been a better time to review your home loan. And there's never been a better bank to help you. Whether you're a new or existing Bendigo Bank customer, book an appointment for a home loan health check today.
Established in 1988, Progress Signs has been servicing the local community for 30 years. Located on the Mornington Peninsula, they are the #1 destination for all your signage needs, specialising in a variety of signage from vehicles to shop fronts, occasional and corporate events, short-term, long-term and everything in between. If it's signs you need, be it large or small, Progress Signs is the place to call. Available 24/7 at progress-signs.com.au or call the team on 5975 9188. Thinking signs? Think Progress Signs, a station sponsor.
Welcome back. We go now to Bianca for this week's weather.
Hello, I'm Bianca and welcome to this week's RPP weather update. Well, as predicted, last week was a much warmer week with less rain than expected for a second week running. Let's take a deep dive into the coming week to see if this trend will continue. Today, Sunday the 13th of August, should bring us a semi-cloudy day with the possibility of some light rain. We are looking at a low of 7 and a high of 13. Monday sees much the same with light rain continuing. We should feel a low of 5 and a high of 12. Tuesday will see the return of the sun and no rain over the peninsula. We can expect a low of 7 and a high of 13. Wednesday sees some rain returning with a low of 5 and a high of 15. Thursday sees this trend continue with a cloudy day. We should see a low of 7 and a high of 13. Friday brings heavy cloud cover and rain. We will feel a low of 9 and a high of 13. And finally, Saturday brings back some patchy rain during the day with a low of 10 and a high of 13. Well, that's all for this week. Try to stay warm and dry, and I will see you again next week with another RPP weather update.
And now to our surf guru Muzz for the Surf Report.
Hey, it's Muzz here, back with yet another one of these Peninsula surf reports. Finally, after a great run of swell, it's pretty much been a month that has come to an end, and we've even had a couple of days of onshore. That's not going to hang around for too long. Looks like Sunday the wind's going to head back around to the north-northwest, and then Monday even around to the north-northeast. So there's a good chance in the outlook that Monday could be a good day on the beaches. You know, might be still a little solid, but should be in that sort of 3 to 5 foot range, and should be a few waves for the rest of the week as well, by the looks of it. So yeah, not the greatest forecast in front of us, but it should mostly be either very small waves in Western Port Bay or reasonably sized waves on the beach breaks or in mid-size at Flinders. So but there will be waves, so hopefully you get amongst it, and I will see you next week.
And that's all from our team here at RPP News, serving the community with stories that matter to you. Keep watching and do tell your friends. Bringing the news from coast to coast across Frankston and the Mornington Peninsula, I'm Catie Sharp. See you for the next edition.